Xiaomi Poco X3 NFC, Best Value. The Xiaomi Poco X3 NFC is perhaps the best budget device you can get right now. It boasts a large 6.67-inch Full HD Plus display, with a 120Hz refresh rate for buttery smooth scrolling and gaming, solid performance thanks to the Qualcomm Snapdragon 732G chipset, up to 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage space, a quad camera that includes a quality 64-megapixel sensor, a 20-megapixel selfie camera, and amazing autonomy thanks to the 5160 mAh battery with a 33-watt fast charge support. The Poco X3 NFC doesn't emit anything. It also features an IP53 rating, a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, stereo speakers, a headphone jack, a microSD card slot, an infrared port, and of course NFC. It has one minor flaw though: its screen is not well optimized for the 120Hz refresh rate, so while scrolling or gaming you might notice stuttering, smearing, or ghosting. Anywho, it's a flaw that you have to go looking for, and even then most users won't be able to notice it. If your budget cannot extend beyond $250, then the Xiaomi Poco X3 NFC should be at the top of your shortlist. Samsung Galaxy A51, the best Android phone under $300. If you're a Samsung fan, but your budget doesn't extend to the Galaxy S20, Samsung's A series is perfect for you. We really like the design of the A51 that echoes the look of the flagship S20 series. This phone also sports a beautiful 6.5-inch AMOLED screen, with very thin bezels, and a small punch-hole selfie camera. The A51 also boasts very impressive specs for the price. Inside we find a Samsung Exynos 9611 processor, and Samsung's One UI 2.0 based on Android 10. The A51 also has a rectangular quad camera module with a 48-megapixel wide-angle lens, that takes photos that can rival those of flagship phones. Samsung's offering is a good choice, especially if you want a big AMOLED screen for under €300. TCL 10L, a valid alternative. A budget smartphone doesn't have to look cheap. The TCL 10L features a design that hides its low price while sporting one of the best displays you'll find on any phone. The 6.53-inch LCD panel features a wide range of colors, while TCL's NextVision technology lets you play with screen settings such as dynamic adjustment of both color temperature and brightness. Unfortunately, the other hardware pieces do not measure up to the stellar display. The performance of the Snapdragon 665 is what you'd expect from a mid-range processor, and the autonomy is just average. Furthermore, its quad-camera rear module isn't that great either. Despite being able to capture beautiful photos in good lighting conditions, the lack of a night mode means that low-light shots are largely unusable. Its biggest drawback, however, is that TCL guarantees only one update of the Android OS. Be that as it may, if you usually upgrade your phone every couple of years, this is a very stylish cheap phone, and definitely worth its asking price. Nokia 5.3, Best Android One Phone. When buying a cheap phone you usually have to lower your expectations, but the Nokia 5.3 impressed us. Unlike most cheap phones, it is equipped with USB-C charging, a dedicated Google Assistant button, NFC for payments via Google Pay, while HMD Global promises 2 years of Android version updates and 3 years of security updates. If all you want is a basic smartphone, then the Nokia 5.3 is an excellent cheap Android phone. Motorola Moto G8 Power, Best Autonomy. If you are looking for a smartphone that offers more for less, then the Moto G phones are made exactly for that, and the G8 Power is the best among them. Its raison d'etre is the huge 5000 mAh battery. According to the manufacturer, this means that it can last up to 3 days on a single charge. Fortunately, the G8 Power doesn't stop there. The rest of its specs are perfectly respectable, and we really like its spacious 6.4-inch display. It's crisp and clear, and perfect for watching videos or playing games. The G8 Power is the reason you don't have to pay a fortune for your next smartphone. Oppo A5 2020, a Best Buy. Oppo is not a well-known name in the West, but it has started to sell its phones in the US, and to some of them, such as the 2020 Oppo A5, it's worth paying attention. This device comes at a price that is the definition of budget, but boasts a surprisingly expensive design. It also packs a large, bright, and vibrant 6.5-inch display, and a massive 5000 mAh battery, which will easily last you well over a day. The Snapdragon 665 chipset and 3GB of RAM provide excellent performance, especially if you take the price into account. On the back we find 4 cameras, plus the selfie camera in the front. We were impressed with the quality of the photos, although the two 2-megapixel sensors are somewhat disappointing, especially in low light conditions. However, at this price, there are compromises to be made. To sum up, the Oppo A5 2020 is a best buy if you're looking for an entry-level phone that will meet all your needs. Realme 6, 90Hz display on the cheap. Realme is another company that is trying to build a name for itself when it comes to budget phones. Realme 6 is proof that you can get a device that costs under $200 capable of giving out a premium feel. Its big size won't be for everyone, but this is currently the cheapest phone you can buy with a 90Hz display. In addition, it offers decent cameras, solid performance, and long autonomy. The main attraction, as we said before, is its 90Hz display, a feature that until recently was reserved only for flagship phones. Scrolling and animations are super fluid, and no other phone in this price range can match that. It also features 4 rear cameras, including a main 64-megapixel sensor, plus a 16-megapixel selfie camera, that make this the budget phone with the best price-to-quality ratio. The only thing lacking is an IP rating, but not many cheap phones have it. Okay, its specs aren't the best on the market, but at this price, you wouldn't expect them to be. The software is a bit quirky too, and you may need to eliminate some bloatware, but that's true of most Chinese phones. All in all, the Realme 6 is one of the best cheap phones we've ever tested, and can easily compete with phones that cost twice as much. Xiaomi Redmi Note 9, best cheap Android phone for most people. The Xiaomi Redmi Note 9 is a much better phone than its price tag would suggest. Inside we find a MediaTek Helio G85 processor, which offers enough power for casual users, and the choice between 3 or 4 GB of RAM, 64 or 128 GB of internal memory, as well as a huge 5020 mAh battery, which offers almost 2 days of autonomy with moderate use. All of this is encased in a sleek-looking 6.53-inch plastic frame, equipped with 4 cameras on the back, including a macro lens and an impressive 48-megapixel main camera, that uses the same Samsung GM1 sensor that we find in much more expensive devices. We have come to expect to see this kind of specs on high-end smartphones, so it's a real pleasure to find them on a phone that costs less than $200. Xiaomi Redmi Note 7, best affordable phone. The Redmi Note 7 places manufacturer Xiaomi explicitly in the middle class. With a screen diagonal of 6.3 inches, the Note 7 is well above the 6-inch limit, but the device doesn't seem so unwieldy thanks to the thin edges. It sports a full HD plus resolution, that users can't do without today. Instead of an OLED, Redmi used an IPS screen with good viewing angles and solid visibility, but less impressive contrast. The rest of the spec sheet is equally convincing. It runs on a Snapdragon 660 processor and 3 or 4 GB of RAM. There are also 32, 64 or 128 GB of memory. The 48-megapixel camera is its defining feature and takes superb photos. And the same goes for the good 13-megapixel selfie camera. Also worth mentioning is the 4000 mAh battery that can power this phone for more than a day.